everybody, Brian here with the Mission35 FIRE podcast, and I have my very, very dear friend who I miss hugging all the time, who is a real estate agent, real estate investor, my co-host on the Pig podcast that we do as well, Tobias the Legend Smulders. How are you, Tobias?
I'm good. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm living the dream, man, and I love the beard. I love the beard that's going on there.
Looking woolly. All the barbers are closed.
Yeah, right? And it's that is like, I'm getting some beard envy looking at that thing. So, yeah, I thank you for taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule as well, too. Even throughout COVID and stuff, you've got a lot of things on the go. You've got your investment properties and real estate. But let's talk about today, part of our thing on FIRE, just like the Pig podcast that we do, is on real estate investment, right? We want to help people build their wealth. Is now a good time for people to be investing in real estate? And what are you seeing in the market right now?
Yeah, I think there's no time like the present in terms of buying. Everybody always wonders when the best time to buy was, and it's yesterday. And then if you can't buy yesterday, today's the day, because we're always ever appreciating. Nobody looks back at their property they bought 10 years ago and says, "Damn, I bought too soon."
So I agree, right? So would you say, the fundamentals are still the same throughout, the COVID-19 and the fundamentals of you buy a good property, you buy with some cash flow, even if there's a second wave that they talk about and, evictions are on a moratorium, it's still, in your eyes, a good time to do it. Is that
totally? I think that ultimately, no matter what happens, the basic necessities, housing and food and clothing, like housing, you got it covered. That's 1/3 of what everyone's going to need, no matter what happens.
True. You mentioned something good there, clothing. I don't know what I'm going to do with all my suits.
Oh my God.
Is anybody going to wear a suit again? I don't think anybody's going to wear suits anymore.
I wondered the same thing. I'm like, especially if we're all Joe Gianoling it up with shorts on.
Right? I know. It's just I might just cut the sleeves off and make them kind of cool. You can help me with that. You're a fashionable guy, Tobias. So you can help me with that.
There we go.
I've heard a lot of chats lately about Airbnb. What are your thoughts about Airbnb? They kind of stopped it, coming back now. They've lost a ton of money during this time. So investors who are looking to do the Airbnb thing and whatnot, what are your thoughts on that market right now? Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think will happen there?
So it's kind of interesting. Initially, if we would have just talked about this 2 weeks ago, I would have said, what a sad situation. Nobody traveling, no Airbnbs. But I just had a realtor inquire about one of their properties, and they're like, "Oh, they're going to buy it as an Airbnb," and I was like, why? Who's doing it? And apparently their client has a number of Airbnbs and they've been just booked solid. And I don't know. To me, if I'm traveling and we're on a high alert kind of situation where we're worried about transference and stuff, I think I would really trust that the brands and the hotels and the big companies are going to have procedures in place for sanitation, where a homeowner just renting out an Airbnb or we'll say an investor who's, just renting something out. I don't know if they're going to have the same kind of safety precautions. Not that we need them, or none of that, but I would think that the general consumer's mindset would be like, oh, Hilton's going to be sanitizing these rooms, as opposed to Tobias's Airbnb is going to be less safe. So it's a different type of traveling.
Change the sheets. Did Tobias change the sheets? Did he do it? Did he didn't? What do we don't know.
Yeah. And then what's their liability and recourse as an Airbnb transaction? I think it's a tough market. I think that a lot of the time it made a property feasible to purchase because it had Airbnb component to it. And now I think that those kinds of properties, if Airbnb lessens or discontinues, it'll be a less good investment, or it'll sort of chop down that purchase price of that property just because it doesn't support it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I was reading about Airbnb, how they were thinking for local, like if anywhere that's within a 2-3 hour drive where you don't have to cross the border.
But you don't have to cross the border.
Yeah. So yeah, just having close proximity for Airbnbs. So
Yeah.
now, what do you think about? So what
I
would
was
you?
going to say, I think cottage country is going to be sharp because I think people are going to be less risky with their travel consensus. If they're planning a vacation, they're like, do we go down south or do something, or do we grab a cottage, especially like in the summer times, obviously. But, that plan is less likely to get canceled beyond your
Yeah.
control too.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. And I'm currently looking for one of those. I want to invest in a cottage as well too, for that purpose exactly. Because I agree with you. I think it will still be an opportunity to have income there. But
Yeah.
I think it'll be, to your point, more important than ever to make sure you've got good reviews on Airbnb and you put in good systems and processes for cleaning. Because I think you get one bad review on that, you may be vacant for a long time.
Yes, yes.
Right. Cool. So tell me about, so during all this right now, tell me about your mindset going forward. I know we've chatted quite a bit about things, and you're a dear friend of mine that I always look up to as well too, Tobias. You always end up having a way of staying positive and a good mind space. You keep me inspired and motivated too. How do you do that all the time? What are your routines or systems that keep you the man that you are?
Well, yeah, in general, I'm pretty positive, but I think that it really helps having a routine, no matter who you are or what you're doing. Even if your routine is get up, brush your teeth, and put pants on, that sort of semblance of normalcy is going to keep you driving forward. And I think that just always wanting to improve is another thing, that growth mindset and wanting to improve. This just, you have more time to improve now. So we've implemented additional like exercise and physical activity, and also that keeps you happy too.
Yeah.
Exercises releases endorphins, and endorphins make you happy, and happy people don't kill people.
I like how you connected the dots there. That was,
Yeah,
that's like that.
yeah.
Now
And so definitely the routine, and then we get a lot of work in. Still being able to work on the business and improve the business aspect itself too has been important, and sort of the back end. That's been a big piece.
That's cool. You know what? And I think, we've had lots of chats during these times, and I would say that for me and you both, like, you're in a growth mindset probably 99% of the time, right? And it was almost you like to see rapid action, and you like to see things happening in your business. But now when you say it's a time to plan and actually almost like plant the seeds, it's still growing, but just at a different pace. Right. And it's something that I know I had to adjust to too, because like, wow, I really had to stop. I had to think, we had to pivot, change some things, implement new systems. And it didn't feel like growth anymore, which was almost a little bit depressing for me, I think, because I like to see things growing, but every business has its season, right? And it's kind of like we were in that season right now, and it's a great way to stay positive and work on your business. And even though you may not be generating as much revenue as before, you're preparing to do more later, right?
Yes, totally.
Did you guys make any big changes in your business over this time, or did you have any sort of new systems or things that you want to share, like how you?
We've got a big, not to the fundamentals of things like marketing and that sort of stuff, just amped up the digital platform, extra photo, video, aerials. We were always ahead of the curve, and doing floor plans and 3D walkthroughs and video walkthroughs and all these things. But now we've just brought it up a notch to be even more available online. But we have like specific COVID screening procedures and just safety procedures, and that sort of stuff, to make sure that when somebody does go into someone else's house, that they're coming prepared and screened and safe and safe for everyone.
That's good. You know what? It kind of brings me piece when I hear this type of thing, and even when I hear you talk about it, because I was talking to someone else today they had raised a concern about the economy or the market in case there's a second wave. We've heard these types of things before. And my thought was just like everybody's put processes into place now, right? Yeah. We can't have that. We can't be hit with the unknown anymore because we know how to handle it, right? So even if something happened again, we've already figured it out. And now there's processes and systems like you have in place to handle if someone wants to buy or sell a house in a pandemic, right? There's a way to do it now. Whereas, 3 months ago, there wasn't.
There was no such thing. That wasn't a word, right? Yeah. And it's nice everybody's got procedures and plans.
Yeah, very cool. So what would you say the forecast is for the coming year when it comes down to prices in the Hamilton, Burlington area? You think we're going to see prices go up? You think we're going to see prices go down? What would you speculate?
So I've been saying that I do think that once sort of this subsides and no one knows what's going to happen, but I think if there's no second wave of shutdowns and that sort of stuff, I think we'll return to more normal business procedures and that sort of thing. And we got to remember that like 75 days ago, like just over 2 months ago, we had an incredibly hot market, one of the best ones in a number of years, and like record unemployment rates across not just Canada, but like North America. So I think that if everything continues on course through this reopening phase, I think we're going to be in good shape to see large, number of sales happen in a short period of time. I think a lot of people are just sort of waiting to see what happens. And then once the sort of general we're going to see a ton of product come out onto the market. And we already have a huge amount of pent up demand. We were in such a seller's market beforehand. Timmy, who needed to get out of his parents' house and buy his own place, didn't all of a sudden decide he wants to stay at home after being locked up with his parents. If anything, he's going to be more feverish about buying now that he's been trapped at home. So I think that all those people just sort of have put their plans on hold. Not that it's changed for a lot of them. And same with the economy. I think we're going to see a lot of people get back to work that are off work for whatever reason, like our construction crew guys. Yeah, there was a limit on the availability for our construction crew entering people's properties, so they were laid off. Now these guys are going to come back to work and resume life as usual. So one of our coaching mentors said, just get ready to make 12 months of sales in 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think I agree with that speculation and that assumption as well too. And I think for anybody that's listening, that's looking to buy or sell, don't wait until it's perfect, like until everything's open, because I agree. It's actually nice for the purchase and sale agreements we're seeing right now. There's conditions of financing. In those hot markets, everything was going cash and it was a high stress environment. Now, there probably is, I think there is some competition brewing now, a little bit, but not as much as in the hot market. So it's a really, really good time to do that transaction I wouldn't call it a balanced market right now, but close to it. So
yeah, a little less feverish. Yeah. And that's, it's kind of a nicety to be able to do that. And I think part of it too is just educated professionals like you or I getting this kind of information out there, because the mass news is not giving this sort of message. They're like doom and gloom, but that's really not accurate if you look at the numbers and the sales and the values. Like our values are all up.
I agree. Yeah, it's very true. I think for all this, you have to be vigilant with your mind, vigilant with where you're getting your information from, right? Because news is there to sell news stories. So
yes.
So listen, man, I want to wrap it up here with just a fun lightning round that we do with a couple questions. So tell everybody what your favorite book is. What's your favorite book today?
Favorite book. Okay. So I really love Rich Dad Poor Dad. I feel like I almost feel like I wrote that book, but I did the same process in my own life, but I never read the book. And then I read it and I said, this is what I did. If only I had known sooner. or or for you know, like fiction books, I love Harry Potter. That's probably the only like.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So
What about favorite movie then? What's your favorite movie?
I Love You, Man, with Paul
I Love
Rudd.
You, Man.
It's just
Oh, that's-
so funny. It's just so funny, and like.
I think you should do that realtor campaign he does at the end, right? That one with all the pictures.
License to Sell.
Yeah. That is so good. Oh, I haven't seen that in ages. That's such a good one.
We just rewatched it. Could die.
Oh man. And okay, favorite superhero. Who's your favorite superhero?
I love Wolverine. I think it's just so cool. The healing aspect, and you can just like. There's so many funny things about him, but his attitude and the way he is.
You kind of look like him right now as well too. You
Yes, that's it. That's part of my answer today. I was like, he's got the chops.
And what's the first thing you want to do post-COVID? Things open up. What do you want to do? What's the number one thing you want to do?
I have been dying to go play hockey, like so badly. Yes. I also up there is like go eat at a restaurant, but hockey, and a new player, like less than 1 year, I was so into it, and then now I'm like, I can't imagine like not being able to play hockey. Like it's killing me.
We missed the playoffs, man. Like we missed the playoffs. Right?
Yes.
Awesome, man. Well, Tobias, thank you so much for taking the time. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. And anybody who needs a world-class, super amazing real estate agent that will always be honest with you and do the right thing for you, it's Tobias Smulders. So thanks to you. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Okay, man?
Beautiful. Thanks so much for having me.